expressed on the following program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership.
Arizona. Brother Mike back on the radio. Welcome to HardcoreChristianity.com. God bless you and thank you for tuning in today for the Bible study. Charlie. Hey, where are you? Are you there? Ooh. Welcome to Filthy Fridays on Hardcore. Thank you for tuning in. Today is our Filthy Friday day, but today I'm going to ask you to go ahead and make that call. Yeah, call some other people to have them tune into the radio program. Normally this is just between us on Fridays, but this Friday, this thing's serious, and I need to get a couple of important points across to everybody. I'm going to make a couple of quick announcements. You make that call for me. Thank you. This is Brother Mike. I'm the counselor at the House of Healing in Phoenix. I'm on 11th Street, just south of Indian School Road and west of the 51 freeway, down near the VA hospital. On our website, HardcoreChristianity.com, is our schedule of services. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesday's Ladies' Night for healing, deliverance, and teaching. Thursday is our individual and personal prayer night for everyone who comes for healing and deliverance. No appointment necessary. Friday is our teaching service. That's my teaching service for my radio listeners at 6:30 p.m. Come a little bit early so you can get a decent seat. You can also, on the website, by the way, make a donation on the PayPal button. Thank you for that. Thanks for keeping the radio program on. Now we're in our 12th season. Thank you for joining our Facebook page. Thank you for joining the YouTube teaching channel. You can also sign up for another free seminar. It's on July 17th. The seminars are usually completely full, so I would register for that if I were you. Thank you for your support and your prayers. Very cherished here. Charlie. Hey, you there? Man, can you believe this? I pulled one article out on this Charlie thing. It's all centered around witchcraft. The article starts, quote, "Back in the day, kids used to tempt demons and evil spirits by using the Ouija board or chanting Bloody Mary 3 times in a mirror. Today, kids are using a piece of paper and 2 pencils to summon the evil Mexican spirit, Charlie, causing some frightening results and prompting warnings by religious leaders around the world." The game, which began in the Dominican Republic, by the way, that figures it'd be there. Man, witchcraft runs amok over there. They've got demons in the Dominican Republic we've never seen in America. Bruja is there. Baka, the animal spirits, are prevalent there. They've got red cloth voodoo. Sigupas and resgados, spirits that are extremely dangerous. Dominican Republic, take that off your summer vacation tour list quickly. The article continues, quote, "The game, which began in the Dominican Republic, has spread around the world on the internet. Involves kids balancing 2 pencils over a piece of paper with a simple grid marked out with yes and no sections. People then ask questions. Apparently, the Mexican spirit understands Spanish and English, which the demon purportedly answers by causing the pencils to rotate to either yes or no." Now, the article goes on to explain, hey, this is all nonsense. It's not real. It's not an evil spirit. You just put these pencils up there and you can blow on them slightly and no one will know that it's not a demon. It's very subtle. And they claim it's just a trick. But these same fools also claimed that the Ouija board was a joke and just a game, and that it wasn't real either. But according to this article, several children across the Dominican Republic have been hospitalized for reportedly becoming, quote, possessed by Satan after playing the game. 4 Colombian high school students were hospitalized when they arrived in the emergency room, babbling and screaming. And the article says that religious leaders all around the globe have turned against this game and are warning everybody not to get involved in it. And in fact, the article said, faith leaders from Christian churches, quote, ranging from Roman Catholics to Baptists, have turned on this game, with the Diocese of Fresno, California, going so far as to dedicate staff and resources to help stem the game's popularity. That's how bad this thing's gotten in California. They're actually putting pastors on this thing and developing teaching programs against this game. That's how dangerous they've seen it. But unfortunately, there's a kook, and a Baptist pastor in Florida who's a kook. He's very famous, by the way. His name is Carl Gallups. And he says that this whole thing's a joke. He's done it, and he thinks everybody's being punked. And he put it on his desk, and he put the two pencils down, one down and the other one on top of it crossways. And then he kind of just gently blows, and you can see how this thing can move with a puff of air. And he doesn't believe any of it. Of course, most Baptist Christians don't believe in the spirit world and don't believe in demons or the devil and that kind of thing. A lot of Christians among most dominant denominations, believe it or not, Barna did recent research on that and found that the majority of Christians did not believe there was actually a real devil. Can you imagine that? Christians, people who go to church, don't believe Satan actually exists. That's literally incredible. But what they're really saying is they don't believe God's holy word. Check this out. In Deuteronomy chapter 18, there's a section of text here that you need to have at your disposal because it is extremely valuable for outlining or itemizing the kingdom of darkness in the area of familiar spirits and witchcraft. Deuteronomy 18 says, quote, when you come into the land which the Lord your God gives you, you will not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. That's what Jehovah, the great Hebrew God, thinks of Charlie. Quote, there shall not be found among you any that makes his son or daughter to pass through the fire. What's he talking about there? Back in ancient times, 3,000 years ago, they used to sacrifice children to the great god Moloch. His name meant the king of the gods. And he required children be sacrificed to him, and he wanted them burned alive. That angered Jehovah more than anything. And he goes on to say in Deuteronomy 18, quote, there shall not be any one of you who uses divination, is an observer of times, or is an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. What is that? That's somebody that talks to the dead. Some religions, Protestant and Catholic, don't see anything wrong with talking to dead people, particularly loved ones who die or friends who die. They'll just sit around chit-chatting with them. You should never be talking to anybody that's dead because, number one, they cannot hear you. They are either in heaven, in glory, or most of your relatives are currently in hell. But wherever you are, heaven or hell, they cannot hear you when you talk to them. They're gone. You know, it would be nice to know that your parents are still around or somebody you loved or a spouse or something. Yeah, I get that. It's an emotional surge from the soul. I understand that. But the bottom line is they cannot hear you. Period. They're gone. They're in heaven or they're in hell. You can't communicate with anybody in heaven. You cannot commute with anybody in hell. Well, Brother Mike, you don't get it. There's a lot of charismatics that take trips to heaven. No, you don't get it. They're not taking trips to heaven. Those are familiar spirit trips. They're all fake. They're not real. But here you can see the kingdom of darkness and Charlie outlined here. Divination, observer of times, enchanters, witches, charmers, wizards, necromancers. You see that every time you go to a seance. You'll see this commonly in a seance. And what we're actually looking at here, though, is the planet Earth being set up, and Charlie's only a part of it, for the rise of the incredible false prophet coming in the future. He's the one that puts this whole thing together for the Antichrist, and he makes it all work. And in Revelation 13, the rise of the Antichrist is exposed. And I don't think it's that far away. I believe that the false prophet is probably alive somewhere, probably a grade schooler or something like that. I think he's alive. I think we're that close to the end on this thing. But in Revelation 13, you can see clearly that, number one, he will be a man. Number two, he will come after the Antichrist, and he will be the prophet to the Antichrist. And the Bible says that he will come as a lamb-like appearance, but he will speak like a dragon. He will be an incredible orator, a superpowered preacher, and he will put the, quote, fear of God, unquote, into human beings. He will have all the power of the Antichrist. He will cause people on the earth to worship the Antichrist. And it also says in Revelation 13 and 19, he will do great miracles. Check out Numbers 11, Numbers 26. He will do great miracles, even to calling fire down from heaven. That's how powerful this man is. This person will be the single greatest mystic and New Ager that ever lived. And Charlie is only one of millions of precursors to this monster that's going to help the Antichrist take over. He will deceive people by miracles, and he will do it in the presence of the Antichrist, Revelation 13 and Revelation 19. And he will also cause the people to take the mark of the beast. And he will have supernatural power to give life to the incredible image of the beast. And the image itself will command people to be executed if they do not serve the Antichrist. Can you imagine that? This superpowered mystic, this New Ager, is coming down the pike. And everything that's going on in our country, all the horror movies, all the mystics, the mystical charismatic movement where they have all of the feathers and gold dust and oils and all this other familiar spirit material, all this stuff is being used to set up for the rise of the false prophet, who will be the glue that puts the Antichrist kingdom together. If you are being haunted by witches or wizards or sorcerers and you need deliverance, please come for help today.
The views expressed on the preceding program are those of the host and not necessarily those of staff, management, or ownership. This program has been sponsored by Michael W. Smith.